Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's press conference at the Jerusalem Press Club. My name is Talia Dekel. We usually begin the day with more difficult news to analyze, but fortunately today we're able to discuss a more positive topic. As everyone knows, 2 days ago, the IDF and the Shin Bet and the special Yamam unit of the Israel police led an operation in Gaza to release 2 hostages being held by Hamas since October 7th, Fernando Marman and Louis. With us today, we have the pleasure of speaking with one woman who actually had altogether 5 family members held by Hamas, 2 of whom were released at the beginning of the week, and 3 who were exchanged within the ceasefire deal of November. Maayan Sigal Koren, thank you so much for joining us. Really such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
First of all, Maayan, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's going on with the family, how everybody's feeling, how you're feeling, and also if you can indicate who is being held captive in terms of family members.
Yes, I'll start with the last question. My mom, Clara Marman, she lives in Kibbutz Nir Yitzchak, normally, very close to the Gaza border, and she was hosting in her house for family members at that Saturday morning of the 7th of October. She had with her sister, Gabriela Leinberg, my cousin, her daughter, Mia Leinberg, her brother, Fernando Marman, my uncle, and also her partner, Louis. They were all kidnapped that morning from her house. And like you said, 3 of them, the women of my family, were released at the 28th of November. And 2 days ago, Luis and Fernando were rescued in a heroic way by our military, fantastic military and forces. I'm right now at the hospital, still in the hospital, and we're here, all of us, all the family, closest family. We all feel very good. The night we just had was the first night they could sleep almost all night long, and you can see they're starting to have their strength back, and smiling, laughing. They're feeling a lot better. We got the message that today they're probably going to get released from the hospital. We heard that their situation, the health situation, is rather good, and we're very optimistic about getting back to our life slowly. And it's all together with a lot of emotions. I'm feeling really relieved in one hand, excited, grateful, and in the other hand, I feel still that part of me is still held in captivity, is still held family in hostages, because we were really getting close to all the rest of the family that has hostages in these 4 months, and knowing that there is still 134 hostages and families that feels the same that I felt 2 days ago and all these 4 months. I really feel that my heart is with them, and I can't really feel completely happy and relieved, because there's still people in Gaza captured by hostage, and this is yeah.
Of course, and we all are praying for their swift and safe return. Maayan, do you know anything about what Luis and Fernando experienced over their time there? Have they been speaking, or is this something that you think will take more time until they're able to share?
Part of it, they start to share. We're asking questions, but slowly. We don't want them to be to feel like we want to know everything. Of course, we want to know everything, every moment, everything they've been through. But it's hard to talk about it. And there's a lot of things I understand we will never understand because we weren't there with them. There's things that only Luis and Fernando will understand each other. There's things that my mom and my aunt and my cousin will understand, but they've been there for 76 days without them after they were released. So there's things we will never understand. I did ask about how they passed the time there, and they've told me by doing nothing, absolutely nothing. They were waiting. That's something that my mom said as well. And they are just sitting there most of the time and waiting.
Were they together though, or?
Yeah, they were together the whole time, and the doctor says it's one of the things that that really helped them to survive this experience, being together. That's something that is really strong, and they could help each other through the moments, the hard moments, and it's very important. We hear from hostages that were released that they were alone. It's completely different situation. Being together is very important, and they were able to talk with each other. It's important. I understood that the terrorists they didn't really knew Hebrew or English, few words, so they couldn't talk to them. And Fernando and Louis didn't know Arabic, so they were able to talk to each other. And also they told me from time to time they didn't want to talk to anyone. They wanted to disappear. They were closing their eyes and trying to meditate or do something to be somewhere else in their minds, because that was too hard to bear. This is the situation.
And do you know if they were able to see any of the other hostages at any point in time? Were they maybe held earlier with Clara, Gabriela, and Mia, or do you know anything?
I know that the moment of the release of my mother, my aunt, and my cousin, they did brought to the same place that they were two two of
The Thai workers, the foreign workers.
yeah, and they were released with them. But since that moment, they didn't see anyone else, and they were completely alone, both of them, with each other, but no one else.
And during these past few months, of course, we know that medicines were supposed to be transferred into the Gaza Strip. Do we know if the medicines reached Fernando and Louis, or you have not yet heard?
It's one of the questions I did ask them, and definitely didn't get them. They said they didn't even know about that negotiation and about that deal. They didn't get anything. No one gave them. No.
And you said they're being released from the hospital today, but do you know how long their rehabilitation will take, their recovery? Do you know about any long-term damage that they might have suffered while there?
No, not yet. I don't know how long the rehabilitation will be, and it depends on them. It depends on the things we will learn with time. There's a lot that we don't know, and I don't know. I really don't know how long everything will take. I don't know if there will be consequences. I guess they will. I can see my mom now, 2.5 months later. I can see consequences. It's and she was there only 50, only if you can say only for 53 days. I guess every day that pass, it's more consequences to being held by the terrorists.
Of course, it's 53 days more than the entire world has ever experienced in such a
Yeah.
treatment. Could you elaborate a little bit about the kind of recovery down the road that you're at least seeing through your mother, your cousin, your aunt?
So that's a different story for each one of them. My mom, she has a few, I don't know how to say, she's in a few conditions. Like, first of all, she can't return to her house. She lives with me right now. The first month and a half, she was actually living in my house. And now we found another place for her, but very, very close to me. So she's dependent still, and she doesn't have her house to go back to. So it's a different story. My aunt lives in Jerusalem, and she was returned to her own house, and my cousin returned to her school, and it's a completely different story to go back to your house or to live somewhere else. And also, I guess things will be different now because till 2 days ago, my mom didn't really started her recovery. She was all in fighting for her partner and her brother release. She talked only about that. She was she went everywhere with me together to the Knesset to we were in Madrid just last week. We were trying to see and talk with anyone who might be able to help us. So she didn't really start her recovery. She was all in fighting for the release. She did start seeing a psychiatrist, and she did start some rehabilitation things that could help her physically and mentally. But I guess now after they're back, it would be she could concentrate in herself and really start the rehabilitation like she should.
Of course, it's a long road to recovery. You mentioned the trips that you made to Spain and further. Are you able to share whether you feel as though the international community was helpful, was accepting, was really, you know, an active part in getting things done over here?
I've been twice in Spain, in Madrid. First trip was before my mom was out of Gaza, was released. The second was with her. It was very emotional. And I was one time in Miami as well. I heard from those 3 occasions, I heard a lot of support, a lot of solidarity, empathy. Everyone, no matter what they were thinking about the conflict, everyone were very, very understanding and warm. I got a very warm welcoming. But if it really helped, I don't know. If they really if it was more than an empathy, if they really took the situation to do something with it, to talk to someone, to actually push for the release, I don't really know. I felt that everyone that I was talking to, it actually it touched them, and they wanted to help. They were all very, very, there were a lot of solidarity, really. From all I've met just a week ago, I met the King of Spain, Felipe VI, and I've met the Prime Minister of Spain, and they were really, really with us. I felt like they were with us. Yes.
It's good to hear. One journalist is asking a little bit more information. That is, of course, if you know, and if you don't, you don't. If you know whether Fernando and Louis knew about their own situation, did they know that there was a war going around them? Were they counting the days? How you said that they were imagining many times that they were in a different place, but were they where they were emotionally?
Well, they knew a little bit about what's going on because the terrorists told them, but they've told them their perspective. They told them I don't know if it was their perspective or it was a psychological terror. They told them about the war that's going on, about their victories. They felt like the 7th of October was a great victory for them. They were very happy about the hostages they could take, and they were laughing and happy about 249, I think it was at first, hostages that they took. And they also said about all the people they killed. And Fernando and Louis, and also my mom said at first when she got released, that they didn't know if it's true or false. They didn't have any clue if they're just saying it because they wanted them to be scared or it's because it's the truth. There were also a lot of things they said that they understand now that didn't happen. So it was mixed, and yeah. So they didn't really know what's going on, but they knew about the missiles because they heard them. They heard the missiles went out from Gaza to Israel, and they definitely heard what was all around them, the missiles that were and the bombing around them in Gaza. So they didn't knew what's going on. They told us that they when they separated from my mom, my aunt, and my cousin, the moment they were separated at the end of November, they thought that they will go out a few days later, that it would be their turn. But at Friday, after when the ceasefire stopped, they heard all the bombing, and they knew. My uncle told me at that moment we understood we're not going anywhere for now. We're still going to be inside. So this is how they knew what's going on.
Right. They learn from the experiences over the months. Maayan, maybe we can finish with something a little bit positive. Can you tell us how you found out that they had been released, or that they were being released? A little bit about what was, going inside the family walls.
So Fernando and Louis, they didn't know anything. Of course, it was complete surprise. Same with us. At 3 in the morning, 2 days ago, the people that were with us all this time from the army called us, told us they're in the hands of the IDF, the hands of the Israeli army, and it was shocking. Really, I needed them to tell me a few times that really happened, because it was such a surprise, and we were so excited. I didn't know what to do first. I couldn't find my things and how to take them with me to the hospital. They told us they're taking us to the hospital. It was a big mess and excitement, and really very, very a moment I will never forget. And I know from Fernando and Louis that they understand really, really fast that this is the army. They called their names once they entered to the place they were. They called their names. They told them this is the Israel military, and it was seconds they understood, and they were in their hands. And Fernando says that in the moment Israel soldier hold him, he felt secured. He felt like nothing can ever happen to him again, and it's very I can't say the words even. It's very, very calming to know that this is the way they felt from the first moment. They are so safe, and they felt at home even before they got back to Israel.
It's beautiful. I think there's no other way to describe it. Maayan, one journalist is just asking for a little bit of background before we finish up. If you can tell us about the family when they made Aliyah, moved to the kibbutz, immigrated to Israel. Sorry, if you can just share a little bit about that, and then for our Spanish-speaking listeners, we will do a short couple of sentences on everything, not everything that you just said, but the most significant points in Spanish before we let everyone go.
Okay. So a few backgrounds. My mom, she immigrated to Israel first in 1981, directly to Kibbutz Nir Yitzchak, and she and my father are living there since then, more than 40 years. Later, on 96 or 97, my uncle came to Israel, and 1 year after, my aunt came here. And something else from those details, or?
I think that's good, but we actually did have a few more questions come in, so if we can keep you on the line for another few minutes, it would be very helpful. Just to give a little bit more material that needs to be covered. Do you know if Fernando and Louis were moved around a lot at all during their time? Were they in the same place? Were they in the tunnels? Any information that you have on that?
Yeah, I have this information, but I can't really say. I had something that the military asked us not to
Okay,
not to
so
share.
please don't reveal anything that you're not supposed to reveal. Whatever you can share is fine.
Yeah, so I can't anything from that moment of captivity, I can't say.
And do you know, have they said anything about the attacks themselves when they were kidnapped at the time? The fact that that so many Hamas terrorists were able to infiltrate the communities on the border. Did they say anything specifically about October 7th?
Yeah, the situation. I have all that information already from the release of my mom. They were all together at the safe room of her house in Kibbutz Nir Yitzchak. They were almost 100 terrorists that got into the kibbutz. 60 houses the terrorists entered to 60 houses, taking things, breaking things, and same story with my mom. But in her case, they entered to the safe room. There were few houses they couldn't enter. There are other houses they didn't even try. But my mother house, I don't know why. I guess I would never know why they did enter to the safe room, and they were shooting in the safe room. But all the family were hugging in a corner of the safe room, and they had a lot of luck, and none of the bullets hurt them. So in the moment they stopped shooting, they told them to come with them, and they took them to Gaza. They were the only family that was taken by hostage from that kibbutz, from kibbutz Nir Yitzchak, and happily they're with us now.
Of course. Just a few last questions. Several journalists are asking actually a little bit more about the conditions that they were held in. Of course, if you know, specifically, were they able to eat? What did they eat? What were they given? Really, how did they survive? And another is asking about the people with whom they were being held, by whom they were being held. You mentioned that they didn't speak any other languages, but do we know if they were only Gazan families, or were there Hamas terrorists there as well? Any information that you might have?
So about the conditions, I can't really give any information. I'm really sorry about that. But I can say that they were held by Hamas terrorists. There were no family members there, just Hamas terrorists and guards. Yeah, they know that was Hamas terrorists.
Okay, Maayan, I think we've covered most of the things that were asked. If we can now just move over to a few minutes in Spanish, perhaps you can summarize for us, the general feeling it is that you have now, having everyone back, the conditions that they were kept in, again, in Spanish, and really what your hopes for the coming days and months are. And thank you very much to everybody else for joining us.
Entonces, hola, lo que estaba diciendo antes, que mi mamá, Clara Marman, le llevaron a Gaza secuestrada con 5 familiares que estuvieron con ella en ese sábado. Mi tío Fernando Marman y su pareja Luisa, que lo sacaron hace 2 días, nuestro militar, y mi mamá, mi tía y mi prima, que ya salieron de Gaza en el 28 de noviembre. Estamos todavía en el hospital en Israel, pero ya hoy el día vamos a salir del hospital. Todos se sienten bien ahora. Estamos con muchas emociones y felices ser juntos, abrazados, toda la familia. De nuevo, yo estoy sintiendo muy buenos sentimientos, de verdad, pero de otra mano hay todavía 134 secuestrados que todavía están en Gaza, y de verdad siento todavía un poco mal porque ellos están allá y todavía necesitamos sacar a todos hasta el último, a liberar a todos de Gaza. Y bueno, tenemos un largo trabajo de recuperación que la familia tiene que pasar en esos semanas, meses que van a llegar. Y estamos todos juntos para dar todo el apoyo que necesitan, Fernando y Luis, para recuperar también mi tía y mi mamá y mi prima. Todos que necesitan, estamos juntos y lo vamos a hacer todo lo posible para ayudar. Y eso, muchas gracias a todos.
Maayan, muchas gracias to you too, and really wishing from everybody at the Jerusalem Press Club a speedy recovery for everybody. And thank you very much for your time. We understand it's it's very busy right now with the press and everything.
Thank you.
And thank you also to my colleague Matthias Sakal for facilitating this call. Have a good day, everybody.